Hi, welcome to Gary's Hobby Studio. In this video, it's the continuation of painting my wife's Baby Yoda, aka the child, or if you want to really call him by his real name, Grogu. Finished him up earlier this, last weekend, and here's the remaining what I did to it, and it didn't turn out too bad. I'm actually impressed with it myself, so here it is. Okay, so this is the part 2 of painting my wife's Baby Grogu, Baby Yoda, whichever you want to consider this guy. And what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to paint this stuff here by brush. I probably could have done it airbrush, but I would rather not take a chance on totally screwing it up. I'm going to paint here and here with a little heavier brown, because in the reference photo that I have sitting on my monitor screen, off screen, it's around the neck and around the hand is a little heavier or a little darker brown than the suit part of it. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now, and I'm using Reaper's Tan Shadow 9043. So let's go ahead and start painting this. And I'm using a size 2 Rosemary & Co. Kolinsky Sable Series 8. If you live in the United States, you won't be able to buy these brushes unless you find a distributor that somehow still has old stock, because for some stupid reason they let whatever certificate that they need lapse, and they have no idea when they're going to fix the issue. Apparently they don't want money from the United States, but okay, but that's beside the point. Didn't mean to digress, but I just figured I'd let you guys know, to be honest with you. I don't know what... I would recommend Kolinsky Sable brushes. I don't recommend the Winsor & Newtons. Not saying that they're a bad brush or anything. They're just way too expensive, and they really are. I picked up a few Winsor & Newtons from a store when they were still in business. I can't remember the name of the store now. They bought the chain out, Michaels did, and some of the stores they closed, some of the stores they turned into Michaels stores. So, but the store that I was buying this stuff as they were clearance and everything out, yeah, I picked up a good amount of stuff. Picked up some paints and everything, but that's a whole other story for another time. But as you can see, hopefully in the video, that this brown will actually make here and everywhere else kind of stand out against this. And I'm also using a wet palette from Red Grass Games. I purchased their studio, the larger one, a while ago, and I just finished their Kickstarter. That was a little while ago that the Kickstarter was going on for their, I want to say, second generation of these. The studio really didn't get anything other than they changed the color to a lighter shade of blue, like an ice blue or something like that, which looks really nice. I like because I like blue. And they also made the hydration sheets reusable, so that you're not like throwing them away. And I got a bunch of these hydration sheets from the current one that I'm using that I need to burn through first before I start using those. It'll be interesting to try those out. and see how well they work compared to the originals. I might try it out just to see before I burn through it. Yeah, you can definitely, well, I can definitely see that it stands out over the other. All right. One thing I'll admit, yeah, I've been painting stuff since 2015, and that's only because of a mutual friend of me and my wife's got me hooked on this. And the story, I'll try to do it as quickly and as non-boringly as possible. He had the original Doom the board game, and it got me hooked on it. And he had the core set miniatures of that game painted. So I scoured eBay because he said it was out of print. And I scoured and I scoured, and I finally found a copy. It wasn't badly priced. I think it was like, I think with shipping it was like between 60 and 75 bucks, which isn't bad, especially for a game that's been out of print since, because I think it was like 2004 when it came out, and that was based off of Doom 3, the video game. So that's how he got me hooked on this stuff. And then what made it worse is that he showed me what was coming out. Imperial Assault, Star Wars Imperial Assault. And that really got me hooked. So we got it, I think it came out early in 2014. So I think I was picking up paint supplies and stuff like that from Michael's, and I had no flipping idea what the hell I was doing. I still don't think I know what I'm doing right now. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to keep it off the screen. So basically what happened was he showed me that, and that got me hooked. Well, it really got me hooked because of that game, because I love Star Wars, you know. I love Doom, I love Star Wars. Those are like my two biggest things that I love between video games and movies. Although I suck at playing video games, I'll be honest with you on that. I suck at those. And so in 2015, I was picking up all kinds of stuff to paint miniatures. I was picking up synthetic brushes because I didn't know any better, and all that good stuff. And my wife could tell you that when I was painting miniatures back then with the synthetic brushes and crap like that, I was so frustrated. I just wanted to take all this stuff, like all the paints, the games, everything, and just throw it out in the trash. All because of the fact that I was so pissed off that the brushes, sorry, I'm not holding it close enough, but the brushes would the bristles here would split like this and curl backwards because of synthetics. And I mean, all these different things. There was a thing on Facebook too that somebody was like, oh yeah, these brushes are really good for miniature painting. I said, are they synthetic? Yes. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't use those because they'll cause you more headache. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you know, maybe I'm not a really good painter, okay? And if that's the case, then okay, I accept that. I really do. I just don't accept the fact that I want it to be as painless as possible and not where it is just a royal nightmare. Because it's like anything else, you know. I want it to be relaxing and enjoyable. If I get frustrated, I really don't want to do it. And I was, like I said, I was so close to giving up till I looked at, and I can't remember what I Google searched. Because at the time I was using Google. And I don't remember what I searched for, but they said Kolinsky sable brushes won't do what I was having the problems with, which is pretty much the bristles rolling back on themselves. And I was like, oh, cool. So I started looking, and everybody was recommending the Winsor & Newton brushes, and just one brush. And I don't even know what size. Like some of the brushes, one brush is like $15. That's ridiculous. And I guess that's why people choose the synthetics, because, you know, you could buy like a pack of 10, 12 at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever for like, you know, $10. Maybe even 12. And still, that's like $1 something a brush, and you get different sizes, and you might get like a couple of different types. Like you might get some flats along with the regular pointed ones. And that's just crazy, you know. And grant, I understand it's a natural hair, and they got to raise the animals to do it, whether they, you know, do it humanely or not, or whatever the case may be. And, you know, I mean, I'm not going to ask somebody, do you kill an animal to get the hair to make the brushes? Because, in all honesty, you know, we slaughter cows for beef, for hamburgers. I mean, it's the way we've always done it since the dawn of time, before machinery and, you know, all kinds of farming and stuff like that. Like, you know, but again, I'm not here for civics or ethics or, you know, whatever you want to call whatever. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to ask a company, do they treat the animals humanely? I hope they do, but, you know, again, I'm not going to ask them for that. Alright, so there is that stuff. Okay. So as you can definitely see, hopefully the video shows, kind of looks like it on this LCD screen of the camera, that you can definitely see a distinction now between those. I don't want to hit down inside here and right there. Because I've been meaning to get this done for my wife for a while. But, and I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying that Winsor & Newton brushes are bad brushes or anything of the kind. I just think that they just cost way too much money. And they really do. So the next thing I want to do is I want to paint the eyes. And the picture that I have of him. I can actually see the iris and everything because this is a really good picture that I found. The only problem is that I don't know how well I will be able to reproduce the iris. But I'm going to start off by painting this an off-white. Because in the photo, it shows a little bit of white towards here and here on both eyes. And the off-white is by Vallejo, or Viejo, however you pronounce it. I'm not saying I'm a master at pronouncing names, because a lot of times I will do a hatchet job on all that stuff, and if I do pronounce anything wrong, I am totally sorry. I do not mean to pronounce anybody's name or any company's name incorrectly. And I hope the audio is recording. So I connected a microphone. And from my last video when I used this same lavalier microphone, it actually worked really good. So I'm glad I finally bought something that works right. Because usually I don't. Usually it does not work the way I want. Sorry, I'm sorry that I keep moving it and it goes out of camera view. Now I prepped some colors for this already because I needed to experiment with a couple of things. One thing is the fleshy color type that they have for like around his lips, the edge of his eyes, his nose, and stuff like that. And I just screwed that up. That's alright. I can fix that. Can't believe I did that. No, I can believe that. It's me. While that's drying so I can fix it, I'll paint this other eye a little more. Maybe that'll help if I put my glasses on. Even though these are an old pair of mine that I was just wearing before my new ones. Alright. So there's his eyes. At least the beginning part of them. Now, from what it shows in the picture, it has like a black iris, and then the color that surrounds the iris is kind of like, and like I said, again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that just because it's me. So I'm going to move on to the fleshy part while this is drying, and I want to hit this right eye a little bit more. I mean, I'm no Sir Astro, and I follow him for painting things like Marvel's Crisis Protocol, Imperial Assault, and I think there's only like 1 or 2 other games that he does. And sorry I moved this out of the way again. Habit of me always trying to pull it closer to myself. I gotta break myself of that habit. But but I'm using his tutorials to paint. Here's my Captain America from Marvel's Crisis Protocol. I'm also using his to do the matching figures for my wife's Marvel United game that she bought. And also, I'm using it to paint the Marvel What If miniatures that I purchased from a couple of different sites. I think one's Skullforge Studios and the other one is Trident, and I'm also on their Kickstarters too. So, I mean, not Kickstarters, Patreons. And I'm in anything that I'm mentioning, I am in no way, shape, or form being paid by any of these companies. So don't think that I'm being paid to say them. These are just my thoughts and stuff like that. It's a little too thick. I need to thin that out a little. There we go. I'll get the hang of it at some point. Now again, I can't guarantee how well this is going to look when I'm done, just because I'm not the world's greatest painter as far as thinning things down and getting the right consistencies on things. The only thing I can do is just do the best I can, hope for the best, and try not to make it look like an amateur did it. Okay. Now I usually use a magnifier that I wear on my head when I'm painting, and that's usually for doing the small miniatures like what I showed you for the Marvel's Crisis Protocol game. I'd still even use it for this. But yeah, I have a lot of different hobbies, and I actually think it'd be cheaper if I just was like doing drugs than doing these. Between my computer addiction, my board game addiction, buying miniature paint and other supplies to paint said board game figures, yeah, I'd have a whole lot of money. I had somebody say to me, well, you own a house, right? And I'm like, yeah. Well, that means you got money. No, that doesn't mean you have money. Because there's taxes you gotta pay. All right. It's starting to take some definition. And now, I mean, I'm going to do the eyes last, but like I'm going to finish them last. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a 10-0 brush and this green wash from Viejo. And I'm going to do the lines on top of his head just to define them so that they stand out a little bit. And let's see how well this works. Yeah, that's not going to work. But I have a backup plan. And I really do. Where's that green? There it is. I'm going to mix in a little bit of this black-green ink. And that may help. And let's see what that does. Oh yeah, darkened that up really nice. You know what, let me try this number 2 with it and see what happens. Maybe I can do it with that as opposed to the... Let's see, let's try this again. I can't remember what video I saw that somebody took the game color ink and the game color wash and used it for like lining like this, to help make the lines stand out. And I want to try to get this done to surprise my wife when she comes home today. Although she'll get this before you guys see the video, so... Yeah, I'm not wild about that big brush doing this. I ain't too wild about the small brush doing it either. Oh, this sucks. Some people are probably thinking, well, why don't you just use it as a wash and just go over it like that? Yeah, it doesn't always work the way you want it to. Because I don't want to wash the whole thing. I'm just trying to keep it from running all over the place, although I could probably touch it up with the original skin color around the areas so that, again, doesn't look like a 5-year-old did it. Which another game that I have coming in soon won't be, well, I have a couple of games that are coming in at some point. I don't know when, but at some point. Ascension Tactics, Wolfenstein the board game, and He-Man and the Masters of the Universe game from Simon. Couldn't get the Kickstarter from Akron Studios because apparently they didn't have worldwide distribution, which I think is stupid, and I don't know why, but hey, I can't argue with it, you know. Why is it I did that really well, but I totally screwed up here at the top on the head. Oh my god. Like, I totally got this nice, not too heavy, Not too light. But I totally botched up the top of the head. At this point, I would have stripped this thing and started all over again. And I'm using game color black. And I just hope I can make them round enough without making it look totally stupid. And I also want to apologize again if for some reason this has gone off screen and that you can't see what I'm doing. Not too bad. Not perfect, but not too bad, if I do say so myself. I also want to try to keep them roughly about the same size so that they don't look... That doesn't look too bad, really, and it really doesn't. I'm shocking myself, guys. Anybody out there that's watching. It actually doesn't look too bad. That's what scares me. Alright, so while all that paint is still drying, which to be honest with you, that's not really that bad for doing this all freehand. I mean, it's definitely not the greatest, because like I said again, I'm no professional painter in any sense of the word. I mean, this is just a hobby. That's why I obviously named my show Gary's Hobby Studio, not Gary's Professional Studio, because I am in no way, shape, or form a professional in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, have I been painting miniatures for a little while? Yeah, I mean, there's guys out there that do so much better. But the only reason is because they've been doing it for years. They've been doing it since they were kids. And the history of me is that, I'll be honest, in my house that I used to live in, growing up, we really weren't encouraged to do things. And the green that I used for his flesh is the same as before. It's the scale color spring green. Just in case if anybody wanted to know and haven't seen the first video where I was airbrushing all this stuff. Which I really need to work on that. I need to get better at airbrushing. But I'm using desert yellow for the nails on him because it actually looks pretty darn close to what you see in this photo. And again, I hope my wife likes this. I mean, I've been meaning to paint this for a while. I've had a lot of procrastination, and I need to change that. Because I've got so much stuff backing up, and I'm sure there's more games that I will buy in the future that will need my attention. Because I want them painted. Okay, so now, I think after this, I think this is done. Always mix your paints up. Recommend putting a steel ball bearing, stainless steel ball bearing. Not a stainless steel, or not a steel, because steel will rust in this. Because acrylic paints are nothing but water. Okay, it's not like, I mean, if the paints I would use were enamel, lacquer, oil, yeah, you could drop a regular steel bearing in it and it won't even rust in any of that stuff because there's no water. But acrylic paints are different. They're water based because they're non-toxic. Where most of the other ones that I mentioned, they're kind of toxic. And that's why you have to be careful with them. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to put a glint in each eye right about here and here of white. So it looks like light is actually hitting it. There. And that, my friends, is my wife's Baby Yoda. It only took me forever. Yeah, it only took me, I don't know how many years that I've had this printed and put together. But yeah, I hope she likes it. Like I said, I did really good job at that there. Up here, totally screwed that up. But I hope she likes it. You know, like I said, I'm not a pro painter like Angel Gladys, which he paints for Vallejo, and he does a lot of videos, and I followed him I follow him too, just because, like I said, I want to get better, and I learn techniques from different things, and I think that's part of the reason why I've, gotten better. And I know I'm my own worst critic at times. My wife will even attest to that, because I'm usually the hardest on myself. And I am. She tells me all the time that I'm doing better, and I guess deep down inside, I think I'm getting better. It's just that I just looking at everybody else and seeing how much better theirs looks compared to mine. You know what I mean? That's what makes you think that that you're not improving, and I guess that's what it is. So, but here's part 2. What do you think? Post any comments, in there if you have any questions or anything. Okay, and it's finally done. It took me, I don't know, 17 months to do it. It was printed in June, sometime in June 2020. Here it is, November of 2021. So yeah, about 17 months, and I procrastinate too much, but yeah, basically that's pretty much how I did it. Did most of it with an airbrush, had to do the rest of it with a regular brush, and my wife's very happy that it's done. So, but if you guys want to, have any questions, comments, or anything, please feel free to leave them in the subscription. If you like what I've done, please hit the like and subscribe. Try to help to, share my channel out to anybody who may benefit from it in some way. I don't know. And as I always like to say, have a good day, guys. Take care.